everyone, this is Ellie. Very recently I put up a poll asking if people would like a video going over the SSR Illustras on the self-select banner, and the majority voted yes. So here we are. I do have individual Illustra guides up on my Notion site already, so if you would like, you can check those out. Those will be a bit more specific than what is covered in this video. This banner lets you choose one SSR among these 5 to operate. If the first SSR you get is not your selected one, the next one will be. And per usual, I'll have the link to the official patch notes announcement in the description. That being said, I want to remind everyone that the new main story will be released next week, which is accompanied by a new SSR for each male lead, so please plan your pulls accordingly. Personally, I always recommend pulling for event Illustras over permanent ones, and just as a reminder, these 5 are all permanent Illustras. Now, moving on to today's video, all comments are made from a combat or meta standpoint. If we go in male lead alphabetical order, first is Alkaid's Quiet Knight. This is the only permanent SSR healer. Skill 1 is a nice to have, but skill 2 has a useful cleanse for damage over time and also attribute debuffs. The ult heals per turn, which makes it more reliant on ult levels than single turn healing Illustras. In my opinion, you only need to build 1 to 2 SSR healers in total, and they should mostly only be used in emergency situations. The game has already released event SSR healers, and it will continue to do so, so Quiet Knight is not irreplaceable, and there will be better healers down the line. So if you're asking me if Quiet Knight is worth pulling for right now, my answer is no. Next, Ain's Captive of Past is a solid AoE damage dealer with dispel enemy attribute buffs on the ult. Both skills are average. The ult effect is only useful in certain scenarios, and there are a lot of AoE damage dealers in this game, many of which are better than this Illustra. So no, I don't recommend pulling for this Illustra here. Next, Cael's Chess Player. This is a solid support with probability AoE freeze on skill 1 and single target ult gauge reduction on the ult. You should put this Illustra in slot 3 of your team. The ult effect is very useful, but it's a shame that it's only single target, and for reference, Shattered Stars is AoE ult gauge reduction. The AoE freeze on skill 1 is also useful, but there are quite a few enemies now that are immune to incapacitate. So overall, this card is useful, but in my opinion, it's not worth investing pulls into, but you could build it if you get it on an off rate at any point. Next, Clarence's Cage of Guilt is a very versatile support that should be used on manual and finds itself most useful in high difficulty content. Skill 1 disables one enemy's ult. Skill 2 reduces all enemies' ult gain rate, and the highlight for this Illustra is the ult effect, which freezes all enemies' ult gauge progression for 2 turns. The entire kit is centered around preventing enemies from ulting and is unique in that aspect. This Illustra should always be in slot 1 on the team. If you play it on manual and want to perform well in high difficulty content, I do strongly suggest you own and build Cage of Guilt. Whether or not you decide to pull on this particular banner depends on your number of paints and also your gacha plans for the upcoming banners. Lastly, Lars's Lord of the North is a solid AoE support. Notably, skill 1 does provide self-resurrection, and most importantly, the ult effect buffs attack for the entire team, so place this Illustra in slot 1. The ult also dispels enemy dodge status, but that's only useful in certain scenarios. So overall, this Illustra can do decent damage itself and increase damage output of your team. However, it's not irreplaceable, and so I don't think it's worthwhile to pull for this card on this banner. In summary, the only SSR I would recommend pulling for on this banner is Cage of Guilt, especially if you are a high difficulty content manual player. However, please again be mindful that the new main story and SSRs are dropping next week, and per usual, I will be putting out a video guide for that. I would not suggest touching this current pool unless you have an overflowing number of paints and you're not planning to pull on upcoming banners. That'll be all for the video. Please like and subscribe. I will have my Notion site linked in the description, as well as our fan-made community Discord server. And also be on the lookout for my Lost Bloodline event guide that will be coming out next week.